여수광양 Port Authority comparison of two port of Yeosu, a passenger port, and Gwangyang, a multipurpose port, was established in 2011. It manages over 35,000 meters of quay length, with a berthing capacity of 133 ships. The cargo handling capacity in Gwangyang Port is about 188 million revenue tons per year, and about 4 million TEUs per year. 경기 평택 Port Authority, established in 2001, manages over 14,000 meters of quay length, with a berthing capacity of 63 ships. The cargo handling capacity is about 94 million tons per year. Different tasks carried out by the Port Authority can be categorized into three main segments: port operation, port maintenance, and port administration. Port operations manages the port's infrastructure, superstructure, operational activities, facilities, sales and related charges, and security functions, while the port maintenance manages construction activities and repairs related to port infrastructure, superstructure, machineries, and equipment. All administrative matters are managed by the Port Administration, which are related to accounting and finance, legal, human resources, audit, marketing, and PR. Compared to the port authorities, functions of micromanaging business and other relating activities, the regional office of the Ministry of Ocean and Fisheries functions with the broadest scope of aligning port business and related activities to the national policy framework. Different tasks carried out by the two agencies are indicated in the table, which clearly emphasizes these differences. This table indicates different activities that related to the ports and the distribution of their responsibilities. The Port Authority is in charge of managing port facilities, dues, freight management, port security, management system, vessel traffic system, information and sales management, construction and maintenance of port facilities. The Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries is in charge of ferry management, new port construction, maritime safety management, policy and legal issues related to the marine world, and the management of retired ships. Next, we will have a look at the characteristics of different port operations system worldwide and the system used in Korea. National ports are managed from port development to operations by the central government directly through port law or a presidential decree. The usual characteristics of a national port management operation system can be summarized as follows. The activities of the ports are directly controlled by the central government. The port administration generally has the responsibilities and authorities to control all ports within its territory. Port business has a high priority in the national policy framework. Under port nationalization, all facilities and related services are provided by the central government, while under state-owned ports, the basic facilities and infrastructures are built by the state, and some of the facilities are leased by private investors. Benefits of these operations, the system include this ease of securing development cost and the reasonable and balanced overall development, considering the public interest. However, difficulties involving the unique characteristics of local communities can be sought to overcome. Municipal port or local port authorities are common in Europe and Japan, where the local government or municipal authorities that directly manages the port with local autonomy. Advantages of such ports include smooth cooperation between the local government and the ports, and the ability to secure a competitive status. Port competitiveness by port management according to local characteristics. However, there is a potential for port policy decisions to be politically influenced, and local government may have limited funds to support the port. Port authorities are managed by independent committees from the central or local governments. The committees deliberate the budget and resolves the settlement of accounts and the business plan. The deliberations are to be carried out by the port authority, and they are separately established, managed, and operated. Port operation is conducted by the ports, which hold independent authority over human resources and have a high level of financial independence. Generally operated by non-profit organizations with strong public interests. The Port Authority system pursues both publicans and economists at the same time, and adopts an independent accounting system, or the enterprise accounting system. The operation of major ports in Korea are carried out by the Port Authority, and the ports are owned by the government. As a form of state-funded port authority, ports in Korea are constructed accordingly to the port law. In accordance with the master plan, and investment in port facilities is shared among the government, port authority, and private enterprises. Investment in facilities excluded from the scope of port construction, such as breakwaters, are covered by the government. Some facilities are built through private investment. In port operation and management, non-profit businesses in marine environment and port control and security are carried out by the government. Although the port authority is generally established by a national or local autonomous entity, port authorities in Korea are national corporations funded entirely by state-owned assets. Ports run by private companies are the force operation systems. In this system, a private company that develops and holds or secures and manages operating rights over port through a rental method. One person is appointed by shareholders of the company to be in charge of the ports. One advantage of such a system is the high quality of service provided by the port. That being said, this system is relatively difficult to secure publicity because it involves private ports made to create profits. This diagram highlights the changes in Busan Port governance. State ownership and operations have been carried out in Busan ports since the mid-20th century. And in 1990, the Korean Container Terminal Authorities was established. The terminal operating company system was started in Korea in 1997 and in 2007. The Busan Port Authority was established. A comparison of the past and present status of the governance of Busan Port governance is shown in this table. As you can see, operations have shifted from the central government to the Port Authority, which is an independent government body. A strong dependency on the national economy has resulted in a self-financed entity balanced between public and private benefits. The possibilities of specialized expert management is a key strength of the present status. But the national imbalance in port development needs to be addressed. The Busan Port Authority was established for two reasons: a lack of locally focused development and inflexible budget management. The establishment of the Busan Port Authority has resulted in high-quality port services, better marketing functions, timely and productive investments, and balance between public and private interests. The current status of Busan Port's governance can be summarized in this diagram. Port management right and the appointment of the port authority's president and commissioners are conducted by the central government, while the port authority has a final say in the port's development, management, and operation. Finally, the private sector is involved in operating terminals. The Ministry of Ocean and Fisheries has two roles: to direct policies relating to maritime development, utilization, and conservation, and to establish maritime administrative policies. Two role of the Busan Port Authority is to develop, manage, and operate the Port of Busan. We have already discussed the operational structures of the Busan Port Authority and the functional division established under the President of the Port Authority. The Port Commission, which is the highest decision-making body of the Busan Port Authority, comprises of 7 members, a chairperson and 6 commissioners. The Port Commission is responsible for deliberation and deciding on key issues and recommending people for memberships to the Port Authority. Recommendation of the executive members of the Port Authority. Objectives of the Busan Port Authority are to enhancing port management efficiency, to increase the trade volume, to develop an efficient port expansion plan, and to balance development of the port and Busan City. This picture shows the Busan New Port Development Project. From 1995 to year 2021, building 4 container berths and 5 general cargo berths of a draft of 17 meters, with a total budget of 17.7 billion US dollars. Along with the Busan New Port project, the Busan Port District Park, a logistics park with free trade zones, has been implemented to develop port-centric logistics activities with creative incentives and tax benefits. The need for and presence of port authorities that can be argued in many ways. Do we actually need the sort of port authority that exists today? If not, why not privatize them wholesale by offering them to the highest bidder? The public sector justifies the governance of the port authority with respect to property rights. The need for planning, the significance of public goods, dealing with externalities, and promoting efficiency. Look at the property rights. Many areas of water are covered by legal or customary rights of free navigation and fishing. Those who simply put up a port structure extending into the water generally have no legal right to the sea bottom upon which it was founded, nor to the water columns through which it passes. Therefore, legal security is required for the construction of port facilities in the form of property rights. Seaports are unusual in that they generally involve the structures extending from the land into the water. Statutory power may well be needed for dredging a new channel. Planning permissions that may also be needed from local government authorities. The need to plan requires a critical task that needs specialized expertise, such as dredging, accurate forecasting, and managing interaction with external factors such as safety and pollution. Due to the nature of public goods and services such as street right and defense, where the public bears the cost irrespective of usage, ports must consider the public interest. Port business and related activities result in numerous consequences such as pollution, congestion, safety issue, visual intrusion, and so on. These consequences require proper management for the good of the public. In order to promote efficiency, the principal means of doing so will be through competition, not through the direct management of the port's facility. Therefore, the Port Authority must ensure that there is a fair competition without cartels, mergers, and other forces. On the other hand, there are arguments against the public sector governing Port Authority. First, a public body established and appointed by some level of government is a bureaucracy with all of its disadvantages. Next to its own survival, the main object of such a body is expand. However, there are diseconomies in having essentially unrelated activities carried out within the same organization. Furthermore, most official bodies serve special functions, meaning that they are not subject to the ordinary rules of the market. Their ability to make profits stems from a combination of the monopolistic position. Finally, most port authorities are unable to justify their structure of port charges. Some other common issues related to public sector entities, such as monumental syndrome, diffusion of responsibilities, corruptions, merely following rules, and regulatory capture are also applicable for port authorities governed by the public sectors. The next case study is on the Busan Port Hinterland Complex, which we discussed previously under the Busan New Port Development Project. As port began performing more duties and start to provide added value services. They can be expanded to create hinterland complexes, which have both direct and indirect related with ports. A supply chain that connects the supply of raw materials to the sale of goods must be established in order to build up a low-cost production network or production base. Ports have never been more important in this matter. Therefore, a platform is a place in and around the ports for all international transactions, such as procurement, production, sales, and consumption. The Busan Newport District Park provides tax incentives and benefits to investors to provide value-added service utilizing the available hinterland. We can observe potential effects of the hinterland complex by looking at similar projects in other ports, such as the Jebel Ali Free Trade Zone in Dubai, which houses 6,400 businesses from 120 countries, creating 160,000 jobs. Another example is the Rotterdam Port Hinterland, which houses approximately 3,000 businesses, creating added value. Developing the Busan Port Hinterland complex has many ripple effects throughout the local economy, including sparking around 5.3 trillion Korean currency worth of production and around 2.2 trillion Korean currency worth of added value and creating about 40,000 jobs. In short, port hinterland complex must be created as a port development. They create cargo volume and port added values, and they strengthen port competitiveness as port perform their duties and start to provide added value services. The necessity of port hinterland complex increases. Hinterland complexes have direct and indirect relations with ports because they expand them. Those who use the port consider not only the port's capacities to handle cargoes, but also the diversity and possibility of added value that they provide as an important factor in choosing which ports to use. To sum up the topic discussed, let's look at a couple of case studies from Korea. First up is the Korean Port Development Master Plan background and history. The central government established a master plan every 10 years to develop its port efficiently. The central government then reviewed the plan's potential revision every 5 years. The government with master plan prevents overlapping investment that originate from excessive and irrational desire for development, and too much competitions among domestic ports. The government with balanced port development helps to improve competitiveness of national ports and logistics industries. Within the establishment of the master plan, competitiveness increased along with the timely expansion of port infrastructure, and it was possible to achieve external price competitiveness of imports and exports through reduced cost and port congestions. To summarize further, the establishment of the Port Master Plan supported increased trade volume of imports and exports, and has the port prepared for a chronic lack of port facilities and increasing demands. The master plan is vital to attract the private capital for port development and diversity. However, government-led port development is necessary, as it is difficult to achieve timely development and higher security of port facilities using only private entities. But it is difficult for the central government to consider the special conditions and potential of each port with the master plan. It's the fifth section of this presentation, and I'm going to introduce the future trends of the global shipping and the port industry. More specifically, the increasingly important role of ports in the supply chain management. Ports are getting bigger and vessels are getting larger. The growing importance of port security after September 11th, year 2001. Reshaping features of today's ports and port redevelopment to strengthen function, qualitative transformation, and expanding urban functions. Around 87% of global imports and export products move through the sea. Therefore, the roles of shipping lines and ports have been recognized as the key players within the international trade. However, the main functions of ports has been limited within warehousing and as a node for a multimodal transport system. Have you ever heard of port-centric logistics? Port-centric logistics describes the positioning of logistics and distribution services when goods arrive. It is considered as an alternative to inland depots and centrally located national distribution centers. It also allows you to store your shipment at the port itself and decrease the number of handling stages throughout your storage and distribution process, saving time and money. Port-centric logistics is increasingly being considered as a way for businesses to streamline their supply chains and reduce their impact on the environment. For many organizations, port-centric logistics aims to remove unnecessary freight miles. It is understood that ports are a critical place to increasing value-added activities in the whole supply chain. This slide shows how the size of container ships have increased in the last 30 years. Since the Maersk, the biggest container shipping lines in the world, introduced a 7,400 TEU container in the mid-1990s. Container size in 2020 have tripled, and 22,000 TEU container ships is quite normal. Due to economies of scale, shipping lines will deploy large vessels to save money through the reduction of the unit cost per TEU. However, it also generates higher cost in other parts of the supply chain. For example, container ports need to provide deep water, longer berths, and larger cranes to facilitate bigger vessels. Shipping lines are the main customer for ports. Ports failing to attract larger ships will lag among local and regional competitors. Since September 11, 2001, strong and strict regulations of port security have been introduced by the U.S. government, including CTPAT in year 2001, 24 hours rules and the container security initiative in year 2002, ISPS code in year 2004, SFI and MI in year 2006. Countries and ports who wish to trade with the USA must follow these security regulations. These are some photos which show selected maritime incidents occurring since the 1960s. Awareness has been raised globally for the maritime sector to be sustainable or green. The International Maritime Organization has ruled that from 1st January of year 2020, marine sector emissions in international waters to be slashed. The marine sector will have to reduce sulfur emissions by over 90% by switching to lower sulfur fuels. The IMO also announced that it will implement stronger regulations than before from year 2030. How should ports prepare these regulations? The Korean government has set up basic plan to build a green port, which is efficient in energy consumption and low in carbon emissions by using new and renewable energy source. For this, we set up the objective of 30% reductions compared to business as usual in year 2020. In addition, the Korean government created 5 emission control areas, which began controlling vessels' emissions strictly in Korean ports from September year 2020. The future of ports will be their economic responsibilities to lead nations both nationally and internationally. Improvements in seaports need to be made economic functions as increasing the producer's surplus of export, increasing the consumer's surplus of imports. The measure of the economic efficiency of a port is the aggregate cost of handling cargo through it. The port redevelopment project in Korea was initiated for the following two reasons. Firstly, the life cycle of ports and their functional support facilities are short due to changes in the logistics environment, such as the growth of ports and cities behind them, the growth of ships and cargo containers. As a result, the number of port facilities with functional decline is increasing, and proper functional conversion is necessary for these ports. Secondly, the demand for recreation and leisure spaces among the public has been increasing in port cities due to the growth of income and the spread of the 5-day work week. As the demand for present environment spaces increased, the demand for redevelopment is increasing for existing old or idle ports in Korea. This photo is a bird's eye view of the Busan North Port redevelopment, which will be completed by year 2030. The main purpose of Busan North Port redevelopment project is to provide a waterfront space to citizens by converting the functions of the old port. Let's watch a short video clips of the Busan North Port redevelopment project.
A broad seaway toward the world. A new change for tomorrow. A vigorous leap forward to become the world's best port. We are the Port of Busan, a top-notch global hub port. Busan Port Authority. We move beyond Northeast Asia into the world. The Port of Busan is the #1 port of Korea that opened its doors in 1876. And a global container port processing over 18 million TEU per annum. Drawing upon its network with more than 500 seaports in 100 countries, the Port of Busan has become a global hub port. In addition, due to its location on major sea routes linking Asia, Europe, and the Americas, more than 100 carriers, including the world's top 30 leading carriers, call at the Port of Busan. As a regional logistics hub of Northeast Asia, the Port of Busan prides itself on favorable geographic location and access to the sophisticated feeder network linking China, Japan, and Russia. The Port of Busan also channels its best efforts to host IAPH, the world-famous port conference, and the Busan International Port Conference, BIPC, the first port-specific international conference held in Korea. The Port of Busan is leaping from Asia's gateway to the center of the world and opens up broad seaway for the brighter future.
The Port of Busan is equipped with an excellent infrastructure. It's safe access for the ultra-large container vessels, and it has a very versatile hinterland. On top of that, they have created a business-friendly environment for the customers and the shipping lines. And that is why the global carriers are highly satisfied with Busan Port.
We leap forward to become the world's best port with leading competitiveness. The Port of Busan, located at the junction of the world's major sea route linking the sea and the continent, appeals to customers around the world with know-how and infrastructure benefiting its customers over 140-year-long history. We ensure accurate operating schedule for carriers and offer safe, swift, and precise cargo services for consignor shippers. In particular, we exert our best to ensure navigational safety and take initiative in bolstering up security in and around the port.
Busan Port is geographically near huge Chinese, Japanese, and Russian markets. It also boasts cutting-edge facilities and excellent port infrastructure and an optimal transportation network which includes railroads and expressways. Such competitiveness has given us great faith as we lead Korea's port logistics industry together with our trusted partner, Busan Port.
Furthermore, the Port of Busan is materializing the dream of futuristic ubiquitous port with its U-Port system built on the cutting-edge information technologies. The Port of Busan, offering the best port services around the clock, will always dream with customers and continue to move forward to become the best port in the world.
부산항의 발전과 함께 걸어온 부산 항운노동조합은 365일 24시간 안전한 부산항 운영을 위하여 항만 인력을 공급하고 있습니다. 동북아의 중심, 세계적인 항만도시 부산의 내일을 위하여 부산항만공사와 부산항운노동조합이 함께 하겠습니다.
We are building a ground for success and happiness of the brighter tomorrow. The Port of Busan in the 21st century is solidifying the foundation to become a center of global logistics industry. The new port construction project is progressing by phases as planned, and the Port of Busan is advancing to join the league of world's top-class ports, boasting up-to-date infrastructures and cutting-edge automation systems. The hinterland of the Busan new port will create stream of high-value cargoes by doing assembling, sorting, packaging, processing services beyond traditional cargo handling service. In addition, competitive rent offerings and diverse tax benefits will add Busan Port's attractiveness in the hinterland logistics complex as a global business center. The Port of Busan is materializing the dream of turning Korea into a major marine industry powerhouse by initiating Northern Port Redevelopment Project, which is one of the biggest national projects in South Korea. Upon completion of the North Port Redevelopment Project, the Port of Busan will contribute 31.5 trillion Korean won in economic knock-on effects and create more than 120,000 jobs as a hub of international marine tourism. The Port of Busan is environment friendly with room for rest and romance. Cruise ships from all around the world would like to pay visits to the scenic environment and friendly port. The Port of Busan has become a new brand of world-class marine tourism and culture. As a city full of excitements, the Port of Busan will make tremendous contributions to the national economy with enormous knock-on effects in production and employment in harmony between global business environment and cutting-edge port services.
Busan has such a beautiful sea and port. You can enjoy shopping, film festivals, and diverse cultures as well. Time flies because you're happy and having so much fun.
The Port of Busan, awakening the sea in its dynamic advance. We will lay the groundwork for success and happiness for the brighter tomorrow by continually challenging and innovating. The Port of Busan, a top-notch global hub port, now advances toward the world. Busan Port Authority.